The 2023 MLB All Star Game rosters have been announced, which means we have the starters, reserves, and pitchers for both the American League and National League. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you every single player on both sides, tell you about the guys that deserve to be there, maybe some of the ones that don't. And if you guys drop a like on this video and give me 2,500 likes, I'll drop my snubs video tomorrow about the guys who just somehow didn't make this team. So without further ado, let's get going with the American League. Starting for the American League at catcher is going to be Jonah Heim of the Texas Rangers. Heim is having a great year for the Rangers, who are just one of the surprise teams of the season. He's been a player that's gotten better and better the last few seasons, totally deserving of being the starting catcher in the All-Star game. Backing up Jonah Heim is going to be Adley Rutschman of the Baltimore Orioles. You guys know him, Rookie of the Year candidate last year, just all around absolute beast. Switch hitter, he's walked more than he struck out this year, a huge reason for the Orioles' success. And then, of course, we have Salvador Perez of the Kansas City Royals, their lone representative this year. They've had a horrible season, but Salvador Perez has been one of the bright spots. Granted, he's been cold of late, but Salvi still absolutely mashes. Starting for the American League at first base, we've got Yandy Diaz of the Tampa Bay Rays. Yandy, very deserving, having an awesome year this season for the Rays, finally starting to hit for some power. A guy who always hit the ball hard, but just hit it into the ground. Glad he was the starter. Backing him up at first base is, of course, going to be Vlad Guerrero Jr. of the Toronto Blue Jays. Take him out of Toronto, and the guy absolutely mashes. I mean, he's just one of the best hitters in baseball. You've watched him hit before. You'll watch him hit for a long time. At second base, one of the more underrated players in baseball, Marcus Semien of the Texas Rangers will be starting for the American League. Again, just the numbers are absolutely insane for this guy, always. Just a very good player. Here's where it gets weird. The backup second baseman in the All-Star game is Whit Merrifield. I love Whit Merrifield. He's a former Gamecock just like me, but a 710 OPS and OPS plus at 101, like there's just, it doesn't make any sense how Whit Merrifield made this All-Star team over a long list of guys that just straight up had better numbers without a doubt. Starting for the American League at third base, another Texas Ranger. I think you're picking up one of the themes here. We've got Josh Young, who's having an awesome season. A little bit streaky here and there, but the power's legit. He's playing a great third base. The backup third baseman for the American League, of course, is going to be J. Ram, who just went on one of those crazy Jose Ramirez tears recently. Switch hitter, great third baseman, great base runner, great power hitter, great contact, just all around one of the best players in baseball and doesn't get enough love. Glad he's on the All-Star team. At shortstop, another Texas Ranger. Wow, they really had 4 of the 5 positions in the infield. I mean, good for them. They deserve it. Corey Seager, of course, is going to be that guy at short. Ever since he came back from the injury, I mean, Corey Seager has been on an absolute tear. I think he has solidified himself right now as the best shortstop in all of baseball. The offense is just through the roof with this guy. He's incredibly good. And backing up Corey Seager at shortstop is another Toronto Blue Jay. This time it's going to be Bo Bichette, who's mashing. We know he doesn't really play a great shortstop. He's gotten better, but it's not great. But that's not why you like Bo Bichette. It's because he takes a violent hack and crushes baseballs. He deserves to be on this team. Moving on to the DH, of course, it's Shohei Ohtani. He's also going to make it on the pitcher side, so we'll just cover it both. Yeah, 30 home runs, most in baseball. He's striking out a ton of batters. He's the best player we've ever seen in the history of the game. And then backing him up at the DH position, looks like it's going to be Brent Rooker. They called him an infielder, but he plays the outfield in DHs, so Brent Rooker, the lone representative of the Oakland A's. I was lucky enough to interview him last year. Super nice guy. Finally got a chance with the A's, and he made an all-star team. On to the outfield, the 3 starters. Mike Trout, of course, is Mike Trout, still one of the best players in baseball, quietly. Like, quietly just continues to be awesome. It's because Shohei Ohtani kind of overshadows him now. Aaron Judge made the all-star team as a starter. Even though he's injured, he deserved it. He was putting up an incredible season, MVP caliber numbers yet again. He will not be playing, of course, because he's injured, so we'll be interested to see who fills in for him. We do not yet know. And then Randy Arozarena got the last spot in the outfield as a starter. We love Randy Arozarena. He does the cool celebrations. He's got so much swag and confidence. That MF named Randy Arozarena is a beast. For the backup outfielders, Luis Robert has been on an absolute tear. 20 homers, 20 doubles, playing incredible defense out in center field. The lone White Sox representative. Really the only good thing happening in Chicago this season. Austin Hayes of the Baltimore Orioles, excited he made it. He's had a quiet, good season for the Orioles, and they're like making the playoffs and having a phenomenal year. They deserve to have a bunch of representatives. Yordan Alvarez of the Houston Astros, again, I don't think he's going to end up playing, but he is technically a backup outfielder. It just seems like for a guy with his injury history, it makes sense to maybe not play this one. And then Adolis Garcia of the Texas Rangers, again, very deserving. I don't know where this team would be without Adolis Garcia. Another former St. Louis Cardinals outfielder that's in this All-Star game. One of them got snubbed on the National League side. We'll talk about him tomorrow, but glad to see Adolis is in there because he's just an absolute beast. Now for the starting pitchers, let's get started off with the Tigers' lone representative, Michael Lorenzen. Bit of a head scratcher. Every team needs a rep. Michael Lorenzen is the Tigers, and I don't know why. I would have thought Jason Foley gets in over him. Super nice guy. Happy for Michael. Framber Valdez of the Houston Astros also gets in as a starting pitcher. Again, maybe the most underrated pitcher in all of baseball. He's striking out batters this year for a guy who was already dominant. Scary what he can do now. Shane McClanahan of the Tampa Bay Rays, one of the best left-handed pitchers in the entire league. Ace quality stuff, very deserving. Kevin Gausman of the Toronto Blue Jays, looking like one of the better free agents agent contracts of the last few seasons. The guy just continues to show he is an ace and he is dominant on the mound north of the border. Luis Castillo of the Seattle Mariners, I believe, is the only representative of the Seattle Mariners. Just a really good pitcher. I mean, an ace for sure. Garrett Cole of the New York Yankees. A lot of people were doubting him coming into the season. He is just probably the best pitcher in baseball, if we had to say. At least maybe the most consistent. He's just still very good. Nathan Eovaldi of the Texas Rangers. What an offseason signing this guy was. While his arm is looking a little bit weaker as we get later into the season, he has been dominant. He's been like the best pitcher in fantasy baseball. He deserves to be on this team. And Sonny Gray of the Minnesota Twins, having a great year out there in Minnesota. They had a lot of good pitchers. They've fallen off a little bit, but Sonny Gray staying strong, the only representative from the Twins. In terms of relievers for the Baltimore Orioles, we got two of them with Yennier Cano, who has just been that kind of random reliever that's popped off this year. His stuff is absolutely disgusting. He has like a sub 1.5 ERA. And we also have Felix Bautista, who is arguably the nastiest reliever in all of baseball right now with a K rate right around 50%. That splitter is devastating, and he has a great walkout too. Kenley Jansen of the Boston Red Sox makes it as their lone representative. I would have thought a guy like maybe Alex Verdugo would have made the team, or Masataka Yoshida as the lone representative over Kenley, especially because there's more bullpen guys I thought deserved it more, but Kenley's the choice. Emmanuel Clase makes it for the Guardians. We know him. He's just disgusting, filthy with that 100-mile-an-hour cutter. So that's the entire American League roster for the All Star Game. Guys that are snubbed will be in tomorrow's video as long as you guys drop a like on it. Now let's go over to the National League. For the National League, starting at catcher is going to be Sean Murphy of the Atlanta Braves. I mean, if it wasn't for his teammate, he'd be up there for an MVP caliber season. What a fleece job they did of the Oakland A's, because I mean, Sean Murphy is that dude. Backing up Sean Murphy will be a couple other catchers. We have Will Smith of the Los Angeles Dodgers, one of the best catchers in baseball. I've talked about him recently in a video. Like, those two are studs, interchangeable of who could be the best right now. And then also Elias Diaz, the lone Rockies representative, having a really nice year for a guy who's just kind of been a lifelong journeyman, having a great season with the bat out in Colorado. At first base, starting for the National League, of course, is going to be Freddie Freeman. He just continues to be one of the best hitters in all of baseball. He doesn't stop. He's so good. At least he's not on the Braves anymore, because I couldn't handle that. Backing up at first base, two guys here. Matt Olson of the Atlanta Braves. Yeah, I mean, you lose Freddie Freeman, you get Matt Olson, and he's just, again, one of the best first baseman in all of baseball, continues to mash. And then also Pete Alonso, the lone representative of my New York Mets. It's been a disappointing year. I honestly didn't think Pete was going to be the representative. I thought Lindor, Brandon Nimmo had a lot better cases, but they ended up going with Pete, who does have a lot of home runs, but has been struggling a little bit of late. At second base, starting for the National League, of course, is going to be Luis Arraez, close to hitting 400. I think he's down to like 390 right now. Anytime you're hovering around 400, don't care if you're a singles hitter, you deserve to start in the All Star Game, and the Marlins have been really good. Backing him up, of course, is the most overrated player in baseball, or at least I thought, Ozzy Albies, who's having a really good season. I can't deny it. He's playing very, very well. 20 home runs, making me look stupid. Stand by my take, because I have to just stand by it forever, but Ozzy Albies is having a great year. At third base, Nolan Arenado is going to be the starter for the National League. Third base was a bit of a weak position this year in the National League, but Arenado, after a slow start, has kind of figured it out. Backing him up is going to be Austin Riley at third base for the Braves, because the Braves have a starter. Every single one of their infielders made the All-Star team. You'll see in a second. Austin Riley's included in that because he's good. At shortstop, here's the final piece for you. Orlando Arcia starting. What a absolute steal they got for this guy. And backing up Arcia will be Dansby Swanson, another former Brave. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the Braves might know what they're doing. Might be a smart organization. Dansby Swanson, Chicago Cubs, having a nice first season over there, although I thought Lindor could have made it over him. As for the DH, you're going to be looking at JD Martinez as the starter for the National League. Mashing with the Dodgers, he's back with his hitting guru, hitting coach out there, and it is showing and paying off completely. And I'm sure like Pete's technically maybe the backup DH. I don't know. Now for the outfield, of course, the three starters, we got Ronald Acuna Jr., who is right now the best player in the National League, one of the best players in baseball, definitely the front runner for the National League MVP. He's got like 20 home runs and 40 stolen bases in the first half, which is just absolutely silly. Corbin Carroll, a guy who was in the MVP conversation a little more as a couple weeks ago, but he's cooled off a tiny bit. Still having an unbelievable year, Rookie of the Year favorite by far. Glad to see he's in there because the Diamondbacks have been so fun this year. And the last outfielder is going to be Mookie Betts, who, if you quietly look at him, is having a career season. Mookie Betts has been phenomenal for the Dodgers. Of course, for the backups, we have Juan Soto, who's quietly just having an unbelievably good year. Yeah, he may not be putting up like the Ronald Acuna numbers, but he's still rocking like an over 900 OPS, still hitting for power, still walking a ton, still doing all the things that made Juan Soto great. I also realized I might look really sweaty in this video. My AC is not working in my apartment, and it's currently 83 degrees inside. Yeah, it's a hot one, but I'm grinding it out for you guys. Nick Castellanos of the Philadelphia Phillies makes the All-Star team as a reserve, having a really nice season. Second year in Philadelphia, seems like he's a little more comfortable, a little more relaxed. We're seeing a bit of the old Nick Castellanos coming. And then last but certainly not least, a bit of a controversial one, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. of the Arizona Diamondbacks makes it as a third outfield reserve. Personally to me, don't understand it, don't get it. Diamondbacks are having a great year. There's a bunch of players on that team that I think deserve it more. Gurriel is the choice though, congratulations. I mean, it's a great accomplishment. Would not have been my pick though. Now on to the starting pitchers. Of course, let's go with the Arizona Diamondbacks pitcher first, Zach Gallen. One of the best pitchers in baseball, finished last season so strong and continuing on it this year. Bit of a rough start against the Angels just now, but Zach Gallen's a beast. New Jersey kid as well. Shout out the Garden State. Clayton Kershaw just never says die. Every time you start to think Clayton Kershaw's getting old or maybe is washed or doesn't have it, he's like, hey, how about a 2.5 ERA? A whip hovering right around 1. I'm still disgusting. Marcus Stroman of the Chicago Cubs made it and very much deserves it. He's having a phenomenal year. The dude's just a really good pitcher. As well as Justin Steele. Two guys who don't do it the way that we get excited about now, like not throwing hard, not with the nastiest of stuff. But these guys are both really good pitchers. Justin Steele, a cool story too with like how he's gotten better and better. Glad to see this guy make the All-Star team for the Cubs. Spencer Strider, of course, the mustache man, makes the All-Star team. He's the strikeout king of baseball right now. He's filthy, although the Mets do own him. Josiah Gray is the lone representative for the Washington Nationals. Local guy, New York guy, so kind of happy for him, even though he unfollowed me on Twitter, but that's probably because I'm an annoying Mets fan. Bryce Elder of the Atlanta Braves makes it as a starting pitcher. You watch Bryce Elder and it doesn't make sense why he's pitching so well, but a 2.4 ERA through this long into the season? Yeah, I mean, you could say he deserves it, very much so. And the last starting pitcher, which I'm glad to see on here, is Mitch Keller of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mitch Keller has completely turned his career around. We saw the improvements he made last season, and he's really built upon them this year. He looks like an ace. Last but not least, the relief pitchers. Camilo Doval is getting to start off with the San Francisco Giants. Just some of the nastiest stuff in all of baseball. 101-mile-an-hour sinker that moves 70 inches. Devin Williams of the Milwaukee Brewers makes it, the only representative of that team. The airbender is still filthy. I saw him pitch against the Mets recently. Alexis Diaz, brother of Edwin, makes it for the Reds, the lone representative. Wish they had more. Matt McClain should have been on here, I think. He's been absolutely disgusting this year, shutting down games for the Reds. One of the reasons why they're in first place. And then quietly, Josh Hader is on this team as well. Yeah, he's got like a 1.2 ERA. Hasn't been touched at all this year because he just went back to doing his own thing and not listening to the Padres. While that team stinks, Josh Hader has been just untouchable lights out again. So those are the rosters for both the American League and National League for the 2023 All-Star Game. I'd love to know who you guys think deserve to be on there or didn't deserve to be on there down in the comment section below. Let me know what you agree or disagree with. Drop a like on the video if you enjoy it. Like I said, 2,500 likes. I'll drop a snubs video tomorrow for you guys, as well as subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you. Follow me on all my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in description. That's where I'll wrap it up, guys. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.